Welcome. Hello. Wait, is it on? Should see if it's on. Yeah, I'm professional. Hey, welcome to Wake Up and News. I have made my coffee, and now it's time to read you Google News. I'm getting more professional with my $30,000 of debt. I have a journalism degree, so I have pre-done all the articles. Alright, start from the beginning. This is all the news that Google sees that you should see. So don't blame me. This is Google's fault. First story. Orange fuck-faced president warns China over COVID-19 outbreak as Europe approaches 100,000 deaths. Yeah, just like the flu, huh? Didn't have 100,000 deaths last year, and yet look at this. Donald Trump has warned that China should face consequences if it was knowingly responsible for the coronavirus pandemic, as deaths in Europe from COVID-19 approach 100,000. Could have been stopped in China before it started, and it wasn't, except it's super contagious, and it probably couldn't have been. Could it have helped curb some stuff? Yeah. Totally not? Probably not. And the whole world is suffering because of it, because he has no idea how viruses work. Trump said in his daily White House briefing, as U.S. cases topped 730,000, and fatalities in the country approached 39,000. That's what we know from the testing we've done. It could be much higher than that. Both who's had it and how many deaths have occurred. If it was a mistake is a mistake. But if they were knowingly responsible, yeah, I mean, then sure. That sounds presidential. Just kind of guess on things. Sure, there should be consequences, fucktard said. He did not elaborate on what form he might take. Considering we owe them trillions of dollars, I doubt we're going to do anything. There's a big difference between those two. He said on Sunday, China reported just 16 new confirmed coronavirus cases. It's the lowest number since 17th of March and down from 27 a day earlier. No new deaths were reported. Alright, so that's what the dumbass is saying, the commander-in-chief, who still doesn't listen to doctors. And because of that, Trump's Mar-a-Lago furloughs all 153 non-essential employees during coronavirus pandemic. Billionaire. Remember, he's a billionaire. Palm Beach, Florida, as the coronavirus pandemic strangles the state's hospitality industry. Even the guy in charge is feeling the squeeze. Dude, that's a way to put him. I prefer guy in charge instead of president, because there's not a goddamn thing he says that's presidential. Two of the Trump Organization's properties in South Florida, the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach and Trump Doral in Miami, have furloughed all non-essential staff, a total of 713 people. At President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago Club, 153 people will be furloughed, according to the Warren Worker Adjustment and Retraining notification letter sent to Florida's Department of Economic Opportunity by Janine Gill, Director of Human Resources at the Mar-a-Lago Club, and copied to Palm Beach Mayor Gail Coniglio. I guess he won't be golfing anytime soon, huh? That's what the president did when he said this isn't a big deal. Florida remains open because Florida's going to Florida. He just canceled everyone. Well, at least he's helping those employees out, saving their lives, right? Let's see. Next story from CNBC. Mnuchin and Pelosi very close to a deal on the second round of small business loans. Because if you didn't read yesterday, we ran out of money. So, small business loans have been taken up. I mean, you know that small business, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, who took $20 million. Yeah, the small business, Ruth's Chris. The key points here, we'll just go over the key points. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin on Sunday said the White House and Congress could reach a deal today on supplemental funding for the Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. The $349 billion rescue loan program ran out of money on Thursday. So, small businesses got $349 billion. We got 200, so that's $500 million, basically. That's $600 billion. We'll round up, right? For small businesses and people who got $1,200 checks. And all the rest went to big corporations. $1.5 trillion. I'll round down. $1.4 trillion. So, the new deal would add another $300 billion, oh boy, in funding to small businesses and $50 billion for disaster loans. The agreement would also include $75 billion for hospitals, $25 billion for federal testing program, which have been main Democrat demands. Yes, we need testing. Please, whatever it costs to get testing so we can go back to fucking some kind of normalcy. So that's what's going on there. I'm going through the news kind of quick today. I'm really proud of myself. Okay, from the New York Times. De Blasio to Trump. Are you telling New York City to drop dead? Live updates. Governor Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio have continued to plead for President Trump's help on test kits and the economy. Mayor Bill de Blasio said that more than 1,400 volunteer healthcare workers have been assigned to hospitals and nursing homes in New York City. So New York City's been hit the hardest, especially New York State. They have a total of 236,763 cases and over 13,000 deaths. So those are scary numbers. And we still, like I said, we haven't done enough testing to even know how. If that's the numbers, that's pretty scary. 20,000 would be 10% of cases. So I'm hoping the total cases is much higher. Mayor Bill de Blasio on Sunday continued to call on President Trump to direct desperately needed federal funding to American cities and to criticize the president's silence on the matter. President Trump, what's going on? Cat got your tongue? Mayor, that's like an old saying. You could do better than that. You could roast them or something. Cat got your tongue just seems so hack. You're usually really talkative. You usually have an opinion on everything. How on earth do you not have an opinion on aid to American cities and states? Because he doesn't want to be held responsible for anything, de Blasio. Why don't you just say it? Instead of being passive-aggressive. You're from New York. Just be aggressive. He compared President Trump's lack of response to the financial shortfall facing New York City in particular to President Gerald Ford's dismissal of the city during the fiscal crisis of the 1970s. The mayor announced earlier in the week that New York City would have to slash more than $2 billion in municipal services over the next year. Cities are going to be hit extremely hard. In fact, if stimulus money came from them, I really wouldn't bother me one bit, because right now they're not even getting their state taxes in some cities. In Vegas, here, we don't pay state taxes because we have tourists that gamble, and that funds our stuff. So who knows when this is over how many programs are going to be underfunded and whatnot. There was that famous Daily News cover that said Ford to City, drop dead. Question is, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, are you going to save New York City, or are you telling New York City to drop dead? Which one is it? False equivalency, but I get what he's saying. Or false dichotomy, I should say. You are failing to protect the very people you grew up around. Yeah, because he doesn't give a shit about poor people. If you don't get that by now, I don't know what to tell you. Even though poor people voted for him. All right. Stimulus check. What payment status not available really means. So this is really those of you who still haven't got your stimulus check and you're like, what the fuck? How come I don't have a job now and I don't know how to get my money? Here's what it means. This I just found informational and I thought it was interesting. Stimulus. When it comes to stimulus checks, most people understandably want their stimulus check now. The IRS has sent stimulus checks via direct deposit to approximately 80 million Americans. If you're eligible, you can receive up to $1,200. We all know that $1,200 per person plus $500 for each. Just squirt you shit out child, as you guys like to call them. The stimulus check or economic impact payment is part of a $2.2 trillion stimulus package intended to help Americans in the wake of the COVID. Yeah, I like how they put $2.2 trillion and they neglect how much of that is actually going to us. What if you didn't get your stimulus check? The IRS created a new online portal called Get My Payment, which allows you to track the status of your payment, update your direct deposit information. However, many Americans have been baffled, frustrated, and upset by what came next. Instead of learning the status of their stimulus check, they were greeted unceremoniously with the message, payment status not available. Say what? That's what they wrote. Here are some popular reasons why you receive the payment status not available. Number one, you may not qualify for a stimulus check. What? Yes, it's possible you may not qualify for a stimulus check. You may not have a social security number or not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, or you earn too much income. Okay, that all makes sense. If this is a possibility, that's why you received that message. Oh, none of those things apply. Okay, let's move on. Oh, why would you write that in a thing? Oh my God, these writers, man. How am I doing this? And this guy's getting paid. This is Forbes magazine, everybody. You haven't filed a federal tax return. That's where I'm at right now, and I'm waiting to get my W-2 from last year from one of my jobs, and HR is out right now, probably because my last job was non-essential. To qualify for a stimulus check, you must have filed a 2018 or 29 federal tax return and earned below a certain adjusted gross income. Number 3, you filed a federal tax return, but your tax return has not been processed. If you recently filed a tax return, the IRS may not have your tax return. However, the IRS may not have processed your tax return. They may have it, they just haven't processed it yet. This includes your 2018 or 2019, depending on when you filed. Unfortunately, until process your tax return, you won't be able to check your status on the Get My Payment portal online. So just be patient. They are overwhelmed with everything, and so it's going to be a minute. You didn't provide your direct deposit information to the IRS. That's something I haven't done for years, and I might have to actually do that this time. I don't like the IRS having my account information, and then, it has been brought up before that they can just get it anyway. So why do I care? And it's like, well, I'd rather than do the extra work. I don't like the idea of them having my information. Number 5, and that's not a corona cough. You recently shared your direct deposit information through the non-filer online portal, but it hasn't been processed. Number 6, you shared your direct deposit information through the Get My Payment online portal, but it hasn't been. I said that twice. God damn it. 7, you receive Social Security or other benefits, although you'll receive a stimulus check automatically. Your information has not yet been added to the Get My Payment tool. Number 8, your identity couldn't be verified. Okay. So if you're in any of those camps, go ahead and get on that. Let's see. No. Oh, this is Washington Post. God damn it. Well, I was going to tell you about the tornadoes that happened in the South, but the South is already trying to kill themselves by not socially distancing and shutting down their states. So they have 2 problems going at once. And then here's the thing going on throughout the country. This is from NPR. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, reopening state, demands a nuanced balance. And this is what governors are being faced with. Some are caving, like Michigan's governor, who frankly just has no gumption. Did I say gumption? What am I, fucking malarkey Joe Biden? Okay. But they're being faced with this issue of, do I open my state or do I not? Here in Nevada, most of our income is... The reason Las Vegas exists is not because of the beautiful landscape, although I do like the desert. It's because of tourism. And if we don't have tourism, we don't get state income. Like I said earlier, we don't pay state taxes as citizens. Like, we don't individually pay that. We rely... I used to love working at City of Henderson, where people would tell me, I pay your taxes. I pay taxes, so that's what... No, the casinos pay for the recreation centers, not you. You pay federal taxes. State taxes come from the tourists. So go fuck yourself. All right. Across the country, millions of people are either out of work or working a lot less, especially in service jobs. That makes up a huge share of the U.S. economy, because we don't make things anymore. We just invent restaurants and then pay people low wages, but enough that they can afford a car payment and rent. That includes waiters, bartenders, rideshare drivers, nannies, domestic workers, barbers, and hairdressers. The list goes on. At the same time, many people under orders to stay home are doing more of their own cooking and cleaning and getting family members to cut their hair. While there are a number of charities aiding those in need, some people are trying to offer direct assistance to the people and small businesses that used to serve them. They're going to take out from restaurants they used to frequent, buying gift cards and tipping extra. But these options don't guarantee workers or businesses will recoup all those things. Those things are wonderful. What we can do them, says Erica Smiley, Executive Director of Jobs and Justice, which advocates for employment security. But they are really just short-term solutions. So let's say you want to help the workers or small businesses you're unable to patronize now because you're stuck at home. Where do you start? Okay, well, this is more of a how to help people, which is good. That is one good thing you can do. Go to restaurants you like, help them stay in business. If you help them stay in business, they can help other people. Let's see. This sucks right now. All right, here we go. Oh, okay, this was a different one. This isn't the governor one. Somehow I switched it because I'm shitty. All right. Here's the governor one. So that was a different article. This is probably why I don't have a job and I have 30 grand in debt. There's our President Trump. States across the country beginning to eye the next phase of their response to the coronavirus, the cautious process of lifting their widespread restrictions, piece by piece, and returning to a semblance of daily life before the pandemic settled in. But how should that happen, and when? 3 broad coalitions of states, one of the West Coast, one in the Northeast, and one in the Midwest, have taken shape to collaborate on the response to the crisis. Among them is Ohio's Republican Governor Mike DeWine, who is working with at least 6 neighboring governors in the bipartisan Midwestern Partnership. I'm actually going to Ohio next month if things reopen for a gig. Let's see if anyone shows up. Something that just naturally occurs to DeWine told NPR's Weekend Edition on Saturday, and during this coronavirus, something that, is even more urgent that we do, that share these ideas. Part of that urgency is coming from the president, whose administration has released guidelines for states considering reopening and who has targeted Democratic governors with tweets calling for them to liberate their states. That handful of states include Virginia, which Democratic Senator Tim Kaine represents. Funny story, the people on his response board are not doctors. None of them for the reopening are doctors. And the doctor in charge of the CDC, Dr. Fauci, said we should actually lock down probably more for at least a month. So, get ready for more coronavirus deaths, guys. They're a-coming. All right. Kaine, in an interview with All Things Considered on Saturday, said he considers the tweets an attempt to foment division in our country in the midst of a global pandemic, noting that the president is urging them to protest the social distancing guidelines that his own administration is urging us to follow. DeWine downplayed the president's tweet, saying he doesn't think Trump is calling for insurrection with all caps, command to his followers to liberate their state from administrations led by his rival party. DeWine said, fixing on 2 or 3 tweets by the president of the United States doesn't make any sense, does it? When he's only targeting those states, yeah, it does, because that's exactly what he's fucking doing, you fucktard. Part of the urgency DeWine and his fellow governors feel is also coming from protesters, many of whom dress in Trump campaign gear, who have flouted state social distancing recommendations and gathered at rallies, not only in Ohio, but in a number of other states across the country. And to all those guys, I say, I don't wish the coronavirus on anyone, but if you get it from doing that, I don't feel bad for you. All right. That's enough of that. Trump, some states to begin a safe, gradual, and phased opening. He's saying that even though he has no authority to do so. Donald Trump has said that a number of states have announced concrete steps to begin a safe, gradual, and phased reopening. Comes after the U.S. president gave guidelines to governors on reopening state economies. Speaking at the White House on Saturday, he said Texas and Vermont would allow certain businesses to open on Monday with appropriate social distancing precautions. However, some state governors warned against the lifting of restrictions until more testing is available. So basically, if you just bring the testing, by the way, this is from BBC. It's not even American. Ugh. Let's see. This is a shit show, huh? Spain's coronavirus death toll tops 20,000 as officials mull extending lockdown. Oh wow, that is a gross picture. Just bed after bed of sick person. More than 20,000 people have died of coronavirus in Spain. Despite a slight downward trend, officials are considering extending the lockdown in the country. See, because you can't just, it's not just like, oh, we curved it, now we can all go do our thing. No, because then it goes whoop, right back up. So the fact there's only been 1,000-something deaths in the state of Nevada is fucking amazing. That's great. Considering, 30,000 cases, 1,000 deaths, that's because we acted early. You look at New York, who acted around the same time, but had the international, and they're on top of each other. That's what happens. 565 deaths on Saturday, down from a total of 585 on Friday in Spain. Yeah, this is just, everything's coronavirus right now, guys. Canadian police detain gunman who left several victims in Nova Scotia. A shooter who left several victims in the town of Portapique, Nova Scotia, has been detained by police after an intense manhunt which lasted many hours. He was reportedly trying to escape in what looked like a law enforcement vehicle wearing a police uniform. Police specified that the attacker wasn't one of their employees. So we can't shoot each other right now, and Canada's like, I got you, boo. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police have been pursuing the suspect, who has been identified as 51-year-old Gabriel Wortman, since the early hours of this morning. They said the shooter, described as armed and dangerous, was in a car which resembled an RCMP vehicle, and he may have been wearing an RCMP uniform. Several victims, and so that's what happened in Canada today. Some crazy man put on a goddamn uniform and okay. Europe's coronavirus death toll tops 100,000 as lockdown protests erupt in U.S. states. By the way, how many people have died from the flu, you think, this year? Let's see. Flu deaths 2020. Searching. I'm just curious, because if we have 100,000 just in there and another 30,000. So right now, from the flu virus that we know, 2019-2020 flu season, there have been 39 to 56 million flu illnesses, about 18 million to 26 million flu medical visits. 62,000 flu deaths is the top. 24,000 to 62,000. Right now, worldwide, we're at 100 and something. We're over twice that. And we haven't had as many infections. So just anytime someone tells you the flu, it's like the flu, top 62,000. We're over double that in just coronavirus deaths right now. Okay? I'm glad I looked that up. Where was I? 24 hours. Let's see. This is tyranny, not quarantine, were some of the signs. Yeah. They had some of the worst signs I've ever seen at a protest. Alright, I'm pretty much done with talking about the coronavirus. Here's business news. Neiman Marcus to file for bankruptcy as soon as this week. Pandemic forced it to temporarily shut all 43 of its Neiman Marcus locations and furlough its roughly 14,000 employees. Neiman Marcus Group is preparing to seek bankruptcy protection as soon as this week, becoming the first major U.S. department store operator to succumb to the economic fallout from the coronavirus outbreak. People familiar with the matter said the debt-laden Dallas-based company has been left with few options after the pandemic forced it to temporarily shut all 43 of its Neiman Marcus locations, roughly 24 last call stores, and its 2 Berghoff Goodman stores in New York. Neiman Marcus is in the final stages of negotiating a loan with its creditors totaling hundreds of millions of dollars to sustain some of its operations during bankruptcy proceedings. According to the sources, it has also furloughed many of its roughly 14,000 employees. Who would have thought so many businesses didn't even have a month worth of savings to continue? Yet we're supposed to have 6 months of our salary. Oh, coffee, I love you. The bankruptcy filing could come within days, though the timing could slip. The sources said Neiman Marcus got millions of dollars in debt payments last week, including one that gave the company a few days to avoid default. And by the way, they're just, let's see, Neiman Marcus' borrowing totals around $4.8 billion, according to credit ratings firm Standard & Poor's. Some of this debt is the legacy of its $6 billion leveled buyout in 2013 by its owner, private equity firm Ares Management Corp. And Canada Pension Plan Investment Board. Ugh. So, that's how business works, man. They don't, and by the way, don't feel bad. They might still be in business. Bankruptcy does not mean the end of the business. It just means a restructuring. They might get a new CEO, new CFO, new advertising firm. A lot of investors are going to lose some money. That's what investing is. It's a risk. Okay, I already did that. How to help people used to go to. There was a Together at Home, Lady Gaga, Rolling Stones, and Lizzo headline tribute to key workers. They helped raise money, so that's good. Here's a crazy one. Broadway star Nick Cordero has leg amputation due to coronavirus complications. Tony Award-nominated actor Nick Cordero has said his right leg amputated after suffering complications from the coronavirus. his wife says. Amanda Klutz on Instagram wrote late Saturday that Cordero made it out of surgery alive, headed to his room to rest and recover. Cordero has been treated with blood thinners to help with clotting in his leg, but his doctors had to stop the treatment because it was causing internal bleeding. Wow. We took him off blood thinners, but that again was going to cause some clotting in the right leg, so the right leg will be amputated today, she said. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the craziest virus of all time. Let's see, okay. Let's see. Here we go. Here's virus snarls global drug trade. So good luck getting cocaine during this quarantine. Utah says antibody studies are in planning stages. So coronavirus is dealing a gut punch to the illegal drug trade, paralyzing economies, closing borders, and severing supply chains in China that traffickers rely on for the chemicals to make such profitable drugs as methamphetamine and fentanyl. One of the main suppliers that shut down enter the Wuhan, the epicenter of the global outbreak. Associated Press interviews with nearly 24 law enforcement officials and trafficking experts found Mexican, Colombian cartels are still plying their trade, as evidenced by recent drug seizures. But the lockdowns that have turned cities into ghost towns are disrupting everything from production to transport to sales. That's from the Associated Press. Let's see. Coronavirus Task Force's antibody studies are in planning stages. We've heard from some of you who recovered from COVID-19 who want to participate in antibody studies. These studies are in planning stages. Ask your doctor if they're participating in any studies. That's in Utah. Mormons get on that shit real quick. Let's see, and that is good on that one. I only got a few more stories, guys. I can't wait for this. Michael Jordan, The Last Dance documentary, as a 10-part series live stream. TV Date's uncensored version. Sunday, April 19th, it'll start, and it seems like every Sunday they'll do 2 episodes. It'll be on, the documentary starting this Sunday, moving up. Okay, so starting today, you can watch ESPN's, on ESPN, you can watch the Michael Jordan documentary. Should be good. The uncensored version, the documentary runs on ESPN, will feature strong adult language, while an alternate edited version of each episode will run simultaneously on ESPN2. Here's ESPN's statement on the matter. Okay, so basically they said, well, there's going to be 2 versions. So ESPN will have the mature version. So if you're going to watch it on ESPN, know that it's 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Episodes 1 and 2, and every Sunday thereafter through May 17th. And there will be language. There will be language. So, all right. Let's see. More, 2020 NFL Draft trade rumblings for late round 1 picks. People trade up. Okay, these are just rumors. I miss sports so much. Here's the one I wanted. Tua Tagovailoa has lowest Wonderlic score among 2020 QB prospects. The Athletics' Bob McGinn reports that ex-Alabama star quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, I can't remember. I've heard it 1,000 times and I can't remember how to pronounce his fucking name. Scored a woeful 13 on the. Oh, that is not good. On the Wonderlic system administered by the NFL to draft prospects before the draft. Among the other first-round prospects, McGinn reported that LSU's Jake Burrow scored a 34. Not bad. Utah State's Jordan Love got a 27. And Oregon's Justin Herbert had a 25. If you want to know what the Wonderlic is, it's just a basic, you should know some things coming out of college, but he went to Alabama. Roll Tide. So he could be the Jamarcus Russell pick. I believe Jamarcus Russell scored a 10 on the Wonderlic, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Oh, really cool. NASA sets launch date for SpaceX, U.S. manned mission to space station. NASA on Friday set a launch date of May 27th for its first astronaut mission from U.S. soil in nearly 10 years. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine tweeted that billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk's space company SpaceX will send 2 NASA astronauts to the International Space Station aboard its Falcon 9 rocket from Florida. making the company's first mission carrying humans aboard. So that's pretty cool. May 27th, NASA will launch American astronauts to space. Yay! As a nerd, I really like this story. So I'll be looking forward to that. I hope they air it and stuff. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, there's a really cool thing. If you look up Hubble telescope on your birthday, it'll show you like pictures it's taken. That's pretty dope. Oh yeah, and this is from the Armenian Reporter. I've never heard of it, but NASA finds previously hidden Earth-like planet that could be home to life. NASA made an intriguing discovery while sifting through data recovered from a decommissioned Kepler Space Telescope. The newly discovered exoplanet has a size similar to that of Earth. Its orbit belonging to the habitable. This is why I don't have a job. Zone has temperature, weather, and a high chance of finding liquid water. Well, the Kepler Space Telescope stopped functioning in 2018. The data recorded by it is Trevor Trove. All right. That's pretty cool. All right, Washington Post again. So that's useless. What a renowned infectious disease doctor learned when he got COVID-19. So this is from a doctor. Dr. Michael Saig, one of the nation's best authorities on the coronavirus, not only because he's researched viruses for more than 3 decades, but also because he recently recovered from the illness himself. Saig has published research on HIV/AIDS dating back to the 1980s. He now serves as the Associate Dean for Global Health at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, as well as the Director of UAB's Center for AIDS Research. He was diagnosed with COVID-19 just over 1 month ago, on March 16th. He described the illness as a horror that included fever, muscle aches, fatigue, and difficulty thinking. Now fully recovered, Saig, an infectious disease doctor, treats other COVID-19 patients at a clinic in Birmingham. So here, here's some things he said. NBC asked, talk about your personal experience with COVID-19. How did the illness affect you? Saig, it's been an interesting ride, a scary roller coaster, and every night is horrible. The mornings are better, but it sort of teases folks, myself included, thinking that it's going away, and then boom, comes right back. For me, that went on for 8 days in a row. The nights are so bad because as a physician, I know what can happen. And so I would sit awake, counting the minutes until morning, almost wondering if my breathing was going to get worse, and I'd end up on a ventilator. That was the horror of it. What was your treatment plan? We don't have a proven treatment. And remember that, when every time people say that, oh, chloroquine. No, that shit hasn't been proven. It kind of helps with the fever, from what I understand, like malaria. But it's not an actual treatment as far as helping the virus. It helps some of your symptoms, but even that has consequences. We don't have a proven treatment. I think that's essential to understand. It points out how spoiled we become in the world of medicine. We have so many treatments for so many disorders that we just assume that when something pops up, we can handle this. We can handle it for other diseases that we've had time to do randomized trials that we haven't had time to do with COVID. So in my case, after the second night of horror, I'll call it, I was very concerned that I was heading the wrong direction. That's about the time a study came out that suggested using hydrochloroquine with azithromycin. This is why I'm not a doctor. I can't pronounce that. This is 5 syllables, man. So I called 10 colleague experts and I said, what do you think? They said, well, go ahead and try it. I did. I can't really tell you it helped or hurt. In retrospect, now that I've been able to look into it a little more, I'm a little bit ashamed of myself because I could have put myself into harm's way in terms of sudden death. That can happen when you use those 2 particular drugs together because they can cause fatal arrhythmia. Oh my God. Fatal arrhythmia. That was not being monitored properly. Take-home point is I totally get why someone who's that sick would want something because doing nothing is very, very difficult. On the other hand, we can do randomized controlled trials to tell us the truth of what the drug regimen does or does not do and what its safe profile is. Until we have that, we're really trying to fly an airplane in fog without instruments. And we know how that worked out for Kobe. That's not a joke. That's why Kobe's dead. All right. Nursing homes are Como's biggest fears. COVID-19 deaths rise. There's a place in Florida, too, that pretty much everyone got it. Let's end with a good one, okay? This is the last story. San Antonio man gives back to COVID-19 patients after he beat the virus. San Antonio, a local COVID-19 survivor, is asking for other survivors to consider donating plasma with antibodies if it is possible. Paul Pozzo got his positive COVID-19 diagnosis in mid-March and said he's not sure where exactly he got it from. I woke up and I felt body aches and just really tired all day, said Basaldua. After testing positive, he said he considers himself fortunate to not have had life-threatening symptoms. He only felt ill for about 5 or 6 days before feeling well again. However, he did not get an official negative COVID-19 test until this past Tuesday, which led him to want to help those who were in need by donating his plasma. There is very strong evidence that the plasma is helping people recover, said Basaldua. According to the U.S. FDA, the antibodies in plasma from COVID-19 survivors might help others fight the virus. See, because if you have had it before, your body, if you survive, you get antibodies. And those antibodies, if you can, helps your body fight off the virus the next time it comes around. So the next time it comes around, I remember you motherfucker, and it beats the shit up. So what they're hoping is that if you get plasma that has COVID-19 antibodies in it, and you give it to people who haven't haven't had the virus yet, it'll actually, even if they don't have all the antibodies, it can actually work kind of like a vaccine. So that's the hope. So that's your news for today. I'm sorry that took longer than I thought it would. I think I might weed out some more stories tomorrow and just keep to the top ones. Although everything was just COVID-19. So at this point, COVID-19 is dangerous. Stay safe. Wash your hands. 30 seconds. Sing happy birthday twice. That's the easiest way to time it. Be safe. Social distance. 6 feet apart. I'm Michael Timont. I hope you enjoyed listening to the news. Thanks.